Right now, as you're watching this, the person you were 7 seconds ago is gone. Dead. Replaced. Every cell in your body is dying. Every thought is fading into memory. Every breath pushes the old you further into the past. So tell me, who exactly is watching this video? There's a story that's haunted philosophers for over 2,000 years. It starts with a ship, but it ends with you questioning everything you thought you knew about yourself. Picture this. The great hero Theseus returns to Athens after slaying the Minotaur. His ship, weathered, battle-scarred, but victorious, is preserved in the harbor as a monument to his triumph. But wood rots, sails tear, metal corrodes. So the Athenians begin replacing the rotting planks, one by one. A beam here, a sail there. Slowly, methodically, piece by piece. Years pass, decades, until one day, a curator realizes not a single original piece of Theseus's ship remains. Is this still the Ship of Theseus? Or is it something else entirely? A beautiful lie wearing the face of a legend? And if a ship can lose its identity piece by piece, what happens when we apply that same logic to you? The philosopher Plutarch first recorded this paradox in the 1st century AD, but the question it asks is ancient as consciousness itself. Let me make this personal. Think about your body right now. Your skin cells? They're replaced every 2 to 3 weeks. Your liver? Completely new every 150 days. Your heart? New cells every 20 years. Even your brain, that sacred vessel of you, is constantly rebuilding itself. Neural connections dissolving and reforming with every thought, every memory, every dream. Scientists estimate that within 7 years, nearly every atom in your body has been replaced. You are literally not made of the same stuff you were made of 7 years ago. If your body is the ship of Theseus and every piece has been replaced, are you still you? Or are you a stranger wearing your own memories? But wait, it gets worse. The 17th century philosopher Thomas Hobbes took this paradox and twisted the knife. He asked, what if someone collected all the original pieces of Theseus's ship as they were replaced? What if they rebuilt the original ship, plank by plank, nail by nail? Now we have 2 ships. One that never left the harbor but lost all its original parts. Another built from those discarded pieces in someone's backyard. Which one is the real ship of Theseus? Your brain is doing something similar right now. As you process these words, your neurons are literally rewiring themselves. The thought you had at the beginning of this sentence has physically changed your brain by the end of it. Every experience carves new pathways. Every trauma, every joy, every mundane Tuesday afternoon is sculpting the neural landscape that creates your thoughts, your personality, your sense of self. But here's what's really unsettling. Your memories, those precious anchors of identity, they're not stable records. Every time you remember something, you're not accessing a file. You're reconstructing it. And that reconstruction changes the memory itself. You're not just losing your original parts. You're actively rewriting your own history every single day. So who are you really? The person who experienced something 10 years ago? Or the person who remembers experiencing it today? Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah was 8 when her father left. That memory, the sound of the door closing, the silence that followed, the way her mother's shoulders shook, it defined her for decades. But here's the thing about Sarah's memory. It's not real. Not anymore. The neural pathways that encoded that original experience have been torn down and rebuilt hundreds of times. Each reconstruction influenced by other experiences, other emotions, other versions of Sarah. The 8-year-old who experienced that moment, her brain has been completely replaced. Her cells, her thoughts, her very atoms, all different now. The woman who remembers it? She's a stranger who inherited someone else's trauma, convinced it's her own. This isn't a thought experiment anymore. This is your life. Right now, you're convinced you have a continuous identity stretching back to your childhood. But that's an illusion, a story your current brain tells itself about people who no longer exist. You've never actually met your 5-year-old self. You've only inherited their memories, distorted through decades of neural reconstruction. You're like someone living in a house built from the recycled materials of a dozen other homes, convinced you know the original architect. But if that's true, then who is responsible for your past actions? Who deserves credit for your achievements? Who should feel guilty for your mistakes? If the person who made those choices no longer exists, are you just wearing their consequences like ill-fitting clothes? Philosophers have been wrestling with this nightmare for millennia, and they can't agree on an answer. John Locke argued that identity lies in continuity of memory. You are your memories. But what about forgotten experiences? What about false memories? What about people with amnesia? Do they become different people overnight? David Hume went further. He claimed there is no persistent self at all, just a bundle of perceptions flowing like frames in a movie, creating the illusion of continuity. Modern neuroscience offers another terrifying possibility. You might not even be one person. Your brain hemispheres can hold different personalities, different memories, different versions of you. Split-brain patients sometimes have their left hand acting independently of their right, as if two people are sharing one body. Which hemisphere is the real you? Both? Neither? And then there's the Buddhist perspective, which might be the most unsettling of all. They've been saying for thousands of years that the persistent self is an illusion, that what we call identity is just a story we tell ourselves to avoid confronting the terrifying truth that we are constantly dying and being reborn, moment by moment, breath by breath. Every meditation session is a small death. Every moment of awareness is a glimpse behind the curtain of selfhood, revealing what? Empty space where you thought you were. So maybe the question isn't whether you're still the same person. Maybe the question is whether you were ever a person at all, or just a very convincing story matter tells itself. Before you spiral into existential crisis, let's talk about what this actually means for your life. Because here's the thing about the Ship of Theseus Paradox. It reveals that identity isn't about the materials. It's about the pattern, the function, the continuity of purpose. Your body may replace its atoms, but the pattern persists. Your memories may reconstruct themselves, but they maintain a narrative thread. You may not be made of the same stuff you were 7 years ago, but you're still running the same essential program. Think of it like a river. The water flowing past you right now isn't the same water that was there a minute ago, but it's still the same river. The pattern, the flow, the relationship to the landscape, that's what makes it the Thames, or the Mississippi, or the Nile. You are not your atoms. You're not even your memories. You are the pattern that emerges from the complex dance between your biology, your experiences, and your choices. And here's what's beautiful about this realization. It means you have more power over your identity than you think. If you're not trapped by your past selves, if you're not bound by the decisions of people who no longer exist, then you can choose who to become. The Ship of Theseus Paradox isn't a prison, it's a liberation. Every day, you're rebuilding yourself. Every choice is a plank you're replacing. Every new experience is a sail you're adjusting. The question isn't whether you're still the same person. The question is, what kind of person are you choosing to build? We started with a simple question about a ship. We end with the most profound mystery of human existence. You are not the person who clicked on this video. That person died 27 minutes ago, replaced cell by cell, thought by thought, by someone new. Someone who carries their memories, but is not them. And tomorrow, you'll die again. And again the day after that. A constant cycle of death and rebirth, so gradual, you never notice the transition. But maybe that's the point. Maybe consciousness isn't about persistence, it's about emergence. Every moment, the universe becomes aware of itself through you. Every thought is the cosmos thinking. Every decision is reality choosing its own direction. You are not a thing that persists through time. You are time itself, experiencing what it feels like to be human. You are the Ship of Theseus, sailing through an ocean of possibility, rebuilding yourself with every wave. So the next time you look in the mirror, remember, you're not looking at the same person you were yesterday. You're looking at a stranger who inherited yesterday's dreams and tomorrow's potential. The question isn't who you are. The question is who you're becoming. And that question you get to answer every single day. If this video changed something in you, if it replaced even one small part of who you thought you were, then you've just proved its point. Thanks for sailing with me into the mystery. Until next time, or until whoever you become next time decides to remember this moment.